There's really no other way to say it. The New York Yankees are dumb.
You are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans, and welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about all of Major League Baseball. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully. Follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter or whatever it's called these days on Instagram. I'm your pal Sully at Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram, but the best way to get a hold of us is right here on the YouTube channel, and leave that hashtag everyday Sully so we can keep track and read your comments right here on the air. Today's episode is brought to you by our good friends who are at 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the United States. Visit 5hewin.com and use that for full rules and entry. No purchase is necessary. Excludes the Master tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. Okay, before we dive into here, let's take a quick little peek at the trivia question here, which was, who was the first ever Dodger DH in a non-spring training game? And a couple of you were guessing things like the '74 World Series. Some of you were guessing the '78 World Series. But the correct answer was by Stephen B. Knoxville's. It was Lee Lacy, who was a terrific player for the Dodgers in those years. There were a lot of really good under-the-radar players on those Dodgers teams, including Lee Lacy, including Reggie Smith. But you got it right. Stephen B. Knoxville's got it correct. It was Lee Lacy in the 1978 World Series, which were won by the New York Yankees. I get the sense the Yankees are not going to win the World Series this year. You're going to see a lot of things. A lot of people have covered how sloppy the Yankees played in Thursday. This is a critical series for the Yankees and a critical series for Boston. And, you know, as a native New Englander, someone who grew up rooting for the Red Sox and against the Yankees, I said, you know what? Just split this series. Just split the series and I'd be happy. And now that's worst case scenario. The Red Sox won the first two games and are handing the ball to Garrett Crochet. And the Red Sox did everything in their power to hand these games over to the Yankees. Game one, the Red Sox played badly. But the Yankees said, hold my beer, and made 4 errors and allowed them to double them up 6-3. This was a matchup of two pitchers who absolutely showed up big. Now, Bayo pitched for the Red Sox, and he gave them 7 strong shutout innings, which is what they needed. They needed their pitchers to go deep. They needed to make sure to use some of their high leverage relievers and everything like that, and win this game. Because if they win this game, they're complete house money. They would win the season series, so they'd get the tiebreaker with the Yankees. So they just have to finish tied with the Yankees to have the home field advantage over them. Also, it means that they hand the ball to Crochet with a chance to take the first 3 games of the series instead of the second game. And, the chance to leapfrog the Yankees in the standings. And the Red Sox, even though their bats were dead, Bregman did get 3 hits. Wong was the big hero, all right, with the RBI, which was the only RBI, the only run scored the entire game. But the Yankees did so many things so stupidly in the last 2 games and just finished putting up this paper lion that I did not get into the trashing of them. I did a whole episode where I talked about, hey, people getting on the Yankees saying, hey, they're beating up Minnesota, they're beating up Tampa, they're beating up the Cardinals. Who cares? These are bad teams. So, well, that's what teams have to do. You have to win the games you're supposed to win and hold your own with the other contenders. Well, I'll tell you who the Yankees are. The Yankees are Biff from Back to the Future. That's who they are. They're a big old bully When they play crappy teams, they'll hit 9 home runs in one game or however many they hit against Tampa Bay. They'll kick the snot out of the the Twins who traded everything that wasn't nailed down to target field. The Cardinals who are dead from the neck up, and the exhausted Rays who are going on these prolonged long road trips and playing in a minor league ballpark. They can take advantage of those teams, but if they play the Blue Jays, they get clobbered. If they play the Astros, they get clobbered. And when they play the Red Sox, they get clobbered. They're big and tough against bad teams, but you play an actual major league team with a chance to face them in the postseason, then the Dodgers scouting report during the World Series was accurate. Just hit it into the field. They'll make a mistake. They're dumb. And they once again made dumb plays. The other day, the 4 errors they made, including airmailing a throw to the catcher, the catcher airmailing a throw to try and get a stolen base thrown out, Jazz Chisholm throwing it into the stands, dumb plays. And today, you had Volpe throw to second base where there wasn't a force play. And they didn't get an out at a critical moment. And then you had Austin Wells, who's just, I'm sorry, he's not a major league player. He should not be starting. And he gets doubled up in that situation in the bottom of the 6th inning. And just dead from the neck up ball playing they do there. And also just guys not running out grounders. One thing the Red Sox do is they run out grounders because they know, especially playing the Yankees, you have to always bust out of the box because there's a much larger than zero chance that one of those fielders is going to throw the ball into the dirt. So you try to press them. Every Yankee batter was just ground ball jogging up the field. Now, granted, at this point, Stanton is a brachiosaurus, but don't worry about him because he sat today. Once again, a critical game, and you're sitting one of your big, huge thumpers. That didn't make sense to me. I'm going to talk about something that their level of dumb goes just beyond the errors on the field, but also just in that final 2 innings. Just everyone was taking bad at-bats, swinging, phoning it in. And right now, the best case scenario for the Yankees, if everything goes right, they'll split the series with the Red Sox. They're going to face one of the best pitchers in baseball, one of the few aces in baseball, in Crochet tomorrow. And the Yankees, they don't have the advantage in the pitching staff. And they've already, they've used a bunch of their high, Bednar pitched a bunch of pitches today. But there's more to this than in their dumbness. And they're the big bully who punches out people who are like, all right, they'll beat the bad teams, but they'll absolutely wither against good teams. It goes beyond that because there are certain things in the strategy of what this team is doing that make me think, and this is coming from someone who's not a Yankee fan, that just makes me say, oh my God, what the hell are they even doing? All right, let's hear it for the 5-hour energy transfusion for the win. The grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot of 5-hour energy brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies and making great memories with your friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course, you just need a little extra push to power through your day. 5-hour energy transfusion gives the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. And golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape, ginger, lime flavor of 5-hour energy transfusion gives you the best parts of the clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the bev cart. And now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip to any golf tournament in the United States. Tee that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary, and it excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. I'm sorry. I mean, the Yankees just have done so many boneheaded things. Take a look at just some of the other, beyond the fact that they're not playing Stanton in a critical game. This game means a lot, especially going into today when they lost the first game. Said if you lose this one, then you're not winning the series. And Stanton is sitting. Okay. Maybe you have to say Stanton's injuries, you got to rest him a little bit. Wouldn't you have been better off resting him against some of the crap teams they were playing so he's ready to play the head-to-head with the Red Sox? But here's another thing. You have Wells, who actually did get a hit today. By the way, no Yankee made it to second base the whole game. So at one point they pinch hit Stanton for McMahon, and he just feebly struck out. And then Austin Wells came up, and they pinch hit Goldschmidt in the ninth. But all right, you didn't want to use Stanton to pinch hit against Wells, for Wells. But here's the other thing: this is a critical game for the Yankees, and Fried had pitched badly. And to the point where people are thinking, does he have the blisters or whatnot? Fried, for the first half of the season, was a legit Cy Young contender. Then blisters issue, and his effectiveness went into the dumpster. But today, Fried showed up. Fried was terrific, and he let up 4 hits and struck out 7 in 6 shutout innings. But those 4 hits, 2 of the 4 hits were just little bleeders. They weren't really getting him. And in the 6th inning, he threw fewer than 10 pitches in the 6th inning. And so he had thrown 99 pitches after 6 and was about to face the bottom of the Red Sox order. And this is a critical game. The guy is throwing, and it was 0-0 at the time. And the Yankees bullpen has been, let's be fair and call it spotty. And maybe you don't want to always run to them. And you have your ace pitcher who you paid all this money to. Now, this isn't an old man Sully saying, my day, Jack Morris pitched such and such. No. This is understanding what's happening in the game and in the season. You have to win this game if you're the Yankees. And Fried could have gone into the 7th and faced the bottom of the Red Sox order. He was at 99 pitches. I'm sorry, at some point, you have to understand, yes, analytics are important for creating a game plan, but you also have to take a look at what's actually happening. Your ace is pitching like an ace. He's about to face the bottom of the order, and maybe squeezing an inning here or inning there out of your starting pitcher instead of automatically pulling them in a critical game might be the smart thing to do from time to time, at least to have them go out. But nope, they brought in Leiter Jr., he lets up the run, and that's it. End of game. They're a dumb team. They're a dumb bully team. And you know what? I'm not going to go crazy, but I got to point that out. They beat up the teams that stink, and there you go. By the way, a lot of us pray, and I said nice things to the Yankees in their draft, what they did at the trade deadline, but right now, the trade deadline appears to be a bust. It appears, Bednar's pitched pretty well, but it's been a big bust. And I got to tell you something. Before a team makes a trade, there's something they should do. They should scout the player. Sure. They should look at the analytics. Absolutely. They should also talk to some of the fans who've been following the player day in and day out. Now, Camilo Doval was pitching for the San Francisco Giants, and he was acquired by the Yankees. And a lot of people praised the Yankees for that move. And at about the time of the move, I was up in the Bay Area and hanging around with a lot of Giant fans, including my mom. And they all had a sense of relief that Doval was gone. Now, I'm going to play you a clip. This is from the 31st of July. We did a squad show where a whole bunch of us were on the MLB squad show. And Brian from Locked On Yankees was praising the Yankees from taking Camilo Doval and what a good pitcher he was. And I did my best to correct him. I'm going to play you a clip.
But the Mets, what they paid for Tyler Rogers out of the Giants was significantly more than what the Yankees paid for Doval. Significantly more. And I would debate Duval's the better pitcher.
Okay.
If you guys saw that, I don't understand how teams paid so much less the longer they waited.
I'm sorry, Murray. I'll jump in for a second, Brian, because I'm in the Bay Area right now. And I don't know if you're hearing, there's the fireworks going on right now. And there's a giant parade because Doval was traded. There's a big rally going in the city because it's I haven't seen happiness like this since New Year's Day 2000. They hate, I've seen his main job on the Giants is to blow saves. So, but a change may do him good, as Elton John sang in Get Back Honky.
Well, I'll trust Matt Blake with him, but I'm sorry. Anytime I had the ability to get a guy that with a 3 ERA that throws 147 miles an hour, I'll take him any day.
It's actually 147 into the bay is what it is. But anyway, that's fine. It's fine.
That was Brian, came from Locked On Yankees, and he was singing all the praises for he has this stat, he has that stat working for him. And I can tell you, every Giant fan I know was like, he stinks. He just blows games. They're so frustrated. Fans were booing him when he would come out. When you saw he was warming up the bullpen, Giant fans were going, oh, my God. No, please. Oh, my God. And guess what? Doval, to the surprise of zero Giant fans, has been a disaster with the Yankees. As of this recording, he's pitched 9 games with them. He's pitched 7 1/3 innings. He's allowed 6 earned runs and has walked 7 He's walked 7 batters in 7 1/3 innings and 9 hits. That's 16 base runners in 7 1/3 innings. And his ERA over those 9 games is, drumroll please, 7.36, which is grotesque. And he's now buried in the bullpen because you don't want to touch this guy. And you could take all the stats and all the analytics and everything. This is not old man Sully here. This is saying, pull the fans. When he comes into the game, you go, oh boy. Armando Benitez for years put up terrific stats. And if you polled every team he played for, whether it was the Giants, the Orioles, or the Mets, they're all like, oh God, not Benitez, not Benitez, not Benitez. Because he blew gigantic games. And you could look at his stats, oh, he's a terrific pitcher, he's an elite pitcher. And then you watched him pitch and you go like, oh God, no, here he comes, here he comes. That's Doval. And every Giant fan I know knew that he was going to be a bust in New York. He would be a bustarino. And that's exactly what happened. That's why I played that clip when I was calling it. That's something teams should do. Poll the fans. Ask them, do you like this pitcher? Do you like this hitter? Now, of course, a player can play badly on one team and resurrect themselves with another. Sure. But go into it saying like, if this guy is someone we want and everyone else is treating it like when the kid got adopted in the movie Problem Child and they all celebrated, what's going on here? Why are the people most familiar with this player so thrilled to see him go? I'm not saying that should kill the trade. I'm saying that should be a factor. Wait a minute. They're all loving that this guy's going. What's going on here as we're kicking the tires? Now, I've talked a lot about the Yankees. A lot of other games are going on, but I just had to point that out. Because even if the Yankees win the next 2 games or find a way to beat Crochet, best case is they'll split a series and they'll basically hold serve with the Red Sox. And now the Red Sox have the home field advantage in the playoffs if they manage to be tied. And they just keep playing dumb baseball. And you can cover up dumb baseball if you're playing a bad team and you're being a big old bully. But when you actually play a good team, it's no longer Biff, but it's George McFly punching him in the face. Oh, yeah, there were other games being played today. A huge game in San Diego. Oh, Yu Darvish outpitched Blake Snell in a 2-1 thriller. The Dodgers got Alex Freeland got a home run early in the game, and then it was all Padres. And oh boy, there was a moment when a pinch hitter by the name of Dalton Rushing came in at a critical point in the 8th inning with a runner on and Shohei Ohtani on deck, and the score was 2-1, and he hit into a double play that really just took the wind out of the sails for the LA Dodgers. And right now, the Dodgers and the Padres are tied, and it means there's a larger than zero chance that there could be 0 games, playoff games played in New York and Los Angeles this year. I'm just saying that that's the case. The Phillies blew a game to the Nats, and guess what? The Mets dusted themselves off. In fact, someone who may be part of the recovery of the Mets is Nolan McLean, who once again pitched a terrific game. That's just what the doctor ordered. What the doctor didn't order was the Reds blowing an extra inning game to the Arizona Diamondbacks. So they now move back a little bit in their chase of the Mets. The Rangers walked off the Guardians, and the Rangers are, they're still have a losing record. They still, kick themselves in the shins, but maybe they'll hang around. As we're going, maybe a big September will make a difference. But there's 6 games back of the Seattle Mariners, they were playing Sacramento, and the A's rallied late, but it was just short. And Wu got another win. He's having a terrific year. And the Brewers won again. Contreras walk-off home run. It was Contreras, right? Contreras hit a walk-off home run in the game against the Giants. The Giants tied the game in the 9th, only to watch the walk-off home run. The Brewers are now 81-48. So that means worst-case scenario for them is they're a 500 team. If they lose the rest of their games, they'll still be a 500 team. The Blue Jays beat the Marlins, and the Tigers came back to beat the Royals. The Royals have been sneaking back into this race, but the Tigers are really good, and they rallied late to win that game. I mentioned the Mets and McLean won their game against the Atlanta Braves. And right now, the Mariners are breathing down the Yankees' neck, but the teams that are on the top, the Tigers win, the Astros win, the Blue Jays win, and the Brewers win. Some of the top teams are all holding down the fort. But the interesting thing will happen is what's happening between the Padres and the Dodgers. Because if the Padres leapfrog the Dodgers, and we're now in late August, it's really just about how are you going to play for 1 month. And quite frankly, I trust the Padres pitching more. How weird would it be if the Dodgers, after everyone saying it's not fair what they do, don't even win the division? Right now, they're tied. It's not April 2nd. It's August 23rd. And they're tied. And that's weird. And that's going to bring us to today's trivia question. What Hall of Famer led his league in home runs for 7 consecutive seasons? Only one has done that. 7 straight years, one person leading the league in home runs. That is your trivia question that I'll have answered probably on Sunday. But thanks so much for making Locked On MLB your first listen today. For your second listen, keep it right here for the all-night Locked On MLB game night, every game, every night, until a World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB game night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Talking about the Wild West and teams falling over each other. And the Yankees, well, make like a tree and leave. Hello, McFly. That's who the Yankees are right now. And I would pick any playoff team over this iteration of them because they are just a dumb bully. This has been Locked On MLB. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.